Going live. God, that's very zoomed out for the camera. One of these days, I will have a consistent setup so that I'm not so sloppy. One of these days. Until then, you can enjoy my generous use of color. And by until then, I mean until I get the camera right. I've given you a splash of color for my link, and I made the girl pink. And camera is like almost good, and I've got people coming in the room. And there we go. It's a little too close. Picky. I'm going to be picky. Get it right. Okay. Hello, Gripper. Oh, God. What a bad name. I don't want to. I'm sometimes obscene in my own content, but I don't know. I don't always like obscenity. I'm going to have to figure out when it is that I do and don't like it. Does that fit? That's about right. Okay. Glad to see you back, Galactic Rhythm Radio. Yeah, I mean, I've been here. I didn't do lives for the last 2 weeks because I think it's been 2 months since I've published now. Hello, Rhodey Strong. Hi, New Hampshire. I'm seriously considering, I'm in the Pacific time zone right now, and I'm seriously considering going all the way back to New Hampshire. There's so few places to live in this country. When is the full levels video coming out? Probably within the next few months. It's a big priority for me. And it's actually probably going to be several videos too, because I'm going to have to take what I did in the first one, and I'm going to have to go over details. Like I want to explain what the levels are in greater detail. I want to explain the research in greater detail. I want to explain the lines in greater detail, like different researchers, like Maslow. If you have I made a thing. I've been doing work for you. I have not been just doing nothing. I made a thing so I didn't have to draw the levels every time I did a live. I made a thing. Look at that. Like the not people zone. So it's kind of big. Oh well. If you, these are the levels, then you would have like Maslow, and he did the Maslow. He did needs. So is Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and the way that you handle the needs in your life might be matured to level 4, for example. And then there was Kohlberg, and he did morals. There were several researchers who did levels of morals, and you might have your morals like way up high. You might be very intelligent, very morally well-developed person. So, these are levels. These are lines. That's what they call in AQAL, lines. So it's like different ways that you apply your cognitive levels development. So I'm going to need to do a video on that, and I'm going to need to explain why you can't just, ever since I made the levels video, everybody emails me and messages me and goes, I'm level 9. And it's almost never true. I've met 2 people since I made the video who were definitely at level 9. 2. And everyone else just kind of like had an experience or maybe a few experiences, or maybe they think deeply about things and they're just interpreting that as being the level because it feels like it. But I'm going to have to go into lots and lots of detail about why that doesn't mean what you think it means. And the next video that I have coming up is on the quadrants, the upper left, upper right, lower left, lower right. I think I showed you that last time. I made there was a girl who complains about a date that she went on, and I made this thing that people say looks like a board game. I guess it kind of looks like a board game. This one right here. This is an analysis. It's a quadrant analysis of this is the upper left, and this is the upper right for two different people, and then this is the lower left, the culture they share, and the lower right, the system that they share. And so I go into it and I explain, like, she was complaining about him, but he only had these mistakes and she had all these. So it explains how to use the quadrants. That's a long answer for your question. You're asking me when the long levels video is coming, and the answer is it's going to be several videos, and they're going to be really, really intensive. And those videos make me the least money. So I have to actually make a bunch of short ones in between that as well. And I have to work on self-max and all that stuff. So I really, really just need to get an apartment and settle down and get to work. Hi, Kyle. Kyle Smith says first and $75. He paid $5 to be the first payer of the day. Thanks, Kyle. I should laminate this. Did you guys know that if you can't afford a laminating machine and you're too lazy to go to Kinko's, you can get packing tape and just put it on the table and then like put the tape down and stick a thing and then put tape over it and then, you know, make sure it's flat. And then you have like ratchet laminated trailer park lamination. It works pretty well. Not all women are angelic Disney characters. That's a comment that I got. Yeah, none of them are. They all pretend to be, but they are all just humans, and they have the same disgusting evils inside of them that everyone does. But they just go, no, I'm a girl, I'm nice. I'm nice and sweet. And then you know, grow up and you realize that they're actually worse than us. On average, not all of them, but you know, not all of them. I hate it that I have to say that. It's such a kindergarten level thing to say. Like, I'm going to make a generalization now. It doesn't mean everyone. So sick of saying that, but that's where we are as a community or country or whatever. Someone says, I'm glad I'm not the only one who does that with packing tape. Yeah, that's a great hack. Nick EG Official says, my first time catching you live. Great. Ask me a question before before people start paying for them, because then the paid questions usually last me until the end of the night. Get in a free one. White Lion says, girl still in your closet, ? I think that was over 10 years ago. I think she left over 10 years ago. What year was that? 2014? It's almost 10 years ago. Davis Lanu says, what's the best way to get a girlfriend in today's environment? The best way is at school. The best way to get a girlfriend is to meet her in real life, not on an app, to know her from around, to have things in common with her, and to stick out. So, like, when I was in college, I was a real mess, and I didn't take care of myself, and I was overweight, and I didn't do my hair. I didn't take care of my hair, and I wore crappy clothes and everything like that. But there were a bunch of girls that I met in classes who noticed me because I was smart, and I asked like really intelligent questions and gave the professors a hard time. I was like, explain this. And they were just reading out of the book. So there were girls who noticed me, and then they would want to like go to the dining hall with me, and we would have lunch together and do like little college dates and everything. And if I wasn't a fat wreck back then, that would have been the perfect way to meet someone. There was one girl in particular who I remember who was very bright. And I mean, nobody liked me back then because I didn't have anything to offer. But if you have something to offer and you can meet someone in circumstances like that, that's the best way, not online. It's the best way to, it's the best way for your relation to be headed in cultural similarity and physical proximity and things you have in common. You know, the internet is ruining relationships. Gabrielle says, what's your opinion on passport bros? That is such an FAQ question. can't answer those anymore. I've done them so many times. I have videos on it and everything. Can you go over your take on the Titanic again? Yeah, it's a pretty common take. Basically, I wonder if I still have the drawings. The girl, Rose, right? The old grandma who's going back through her memories. She had a husband. So it, like, chronologically speaking, she got on the boat and met Leonardo DiCaprio, and they had their little sexy little romance. And then the boat crashed, Leonardo died, and then she got married and had kids. And on her deathbed, she's thinking about Leonardo DiCaprio and not about her husband and kids. And that is just, that's a load of crap, man. That's, why are you thinking about some guy who nailed you on a boat? Here it is. Like 60 years ago. So this is the chronology. This is Rose, and so she was born, went to school, and then had fun on a boat with a vagrant, and then he died, and all that, and she went through her difficult, sad time that she remembered on her deathbed, and then like that was like this much of her life. She's on that boat for just a couple months. And then over here, she meets a guy and gets married, and they live together, and she has kids, like a bunch of them, and the guy works, and they fight and make up and make dinner and have whole lives, and her children grow up and get married. She has grandkids, and she's got all of that life, right? But when she's dying, she just talks about this. Yes, he was so hot. And then every woman in the world saw that movie and went, "Oh, it's the greatest love story of all time." It's not very motivating to get married, Kyle Smith says, "Can you give me some hope that there's good women out there?" There are. I can't tell you honestly that you have a good chance of meeting one, and I can't tell you honestly that that there's a good ratio of the type of women you're looking for to the men who want to find them. I think that there's actually quite a few more men who want to have a stable, monogamous, meaningful relationship than there are women who would tolerate those men. I that was like the first video that I ever made, which is the girl telling the girl your standards are too high. And that's really the basis of the dating problem, is that women have always been picky, but dating apps and culture and legal changes and everything have made them so picky that they hate the guys they're supposed to like. So what was your question again? I'm 34, recently single, and honestly sort of settled for her out of a scarcity mindset. Well, are you happy with her? Do you like her? Because there's a difference between I don't like her and I think maybe I could do better. You should not become the kind of person who's always thinking like, could I get someone hotter or younger? Or you should be the kind of person who looks at the person you have and you think, is this good? Is it good? Because, will it be good for a long-term relationship? Do I like her? Am I attracted to her? Does she make me happy? Do we fight about the right and wrong, the right things and not about the wrong things? Don't spend a lot of energy trying to make sure that you have absolutely the highest value mate that you can possibly get. Don't do that, because we are really bad at judging that. And if you do get a mate that's the highest value you can possibly get, she probably is not going to think the same way about you. And then you're more likely to lose her, because when there's large differences in mate value, the higher value mate is more likely to leave or cheat. So, there have been tons of times in my life where I've met a girl who had some, was lacking in some ways, like maybe just not as pretty, and maybe had a hard time with jobs or whatever. This is the Delta Hot Index from a while ago. So what are we looking at here? this is if there's too much of an attractiveness difference, this kind of doesn't exist. Like if you get with a girl who's that much more value than you, then you're going to have a problem eventually. So, look for someone right at your level who's a 5 crazy or below. And don't delude yourself about what your level is. Don't go thinking like, oh, I could get better, because you're gonna fall off that escalator. You know what I mean? There's a long answer to that question. The paid ones are starting to roll in. Artemis, before I get to the paid ones, there's Artemis here, and I think that's probably a girl, so this is a good question to answer. Artemis says, not to argue with your point, but isn't the movie just a made-up story? Yes, but it was the most popular movie. Girls would go see it over and over and over and over because they identified with it. It made them feel all wonderful and tingly. So it doesn't matter that it's a made-up story. What matters is that it was a box office smash and it wasn't beaten until Avatar, I think. So all the women all over the world, it's the same thing as when they all bought 50 Shades of Grey. It's like, oh, it's a fake story. Yeah, but they bought it. They love it. They love the story. So it's like, ugh, that's what's in the hearts of women. They care more about the vagrant on the boat than the husband and the kids. Makes you not want to get married. That's the point, Artemis. It's not whether or not it's real. It's what its popularity means about the people it's popular with. Okay, Yuck says, it's a guy or maybe a girl, but probably a guy named Yuck. Like thick, Yuck. Yuck says, I took a level check, got a 7 on everything, except a 6 on change. I just turned 20 and want to progress. What are the chances I can do that, or am I probably stuck? You're definitely never stuck. No one is ever stuck. If you want to progress, you're going to need to challenge yourself. Move to a different place, get new friends, challenge your beliefs, change your job. Whatever it is that you believe about life, go test it out. Go put yourself in a place to see if it's true or not. Like when I was 23, I had a relationship with a girl, and I thought that if I just treated her right, it would work out. And that, I don't make a lot of money, but she'll wait for me to make more. And, I might not be in the best shape, but she'll love me for who I am. And I had all those blue-pilled beliefs. And then I had the relationship with her, and she just hated all of that and needed me to do better. And then when I didn't, treated me really poorly and was abusive. And so I was disabused of those beliefs. If you want to grow, you're going to have to challenge your beliefs. And then if you find out that they don't work, don't stay in denial. Explain to yourself why you were wrong and then go get it right. That's the one thing that'll help you grow the most. So no, you're not stuck. Lily Lan sent me $20 and just gave me a little animated picture of what looks like a samurai fox holding a golden trophy. So that's cute. Thank you. Or maybe it's a dog. Looks like a fox. Tyreek the Third says, thanks for your book recommendations on levels. You're welcome. Really helped me understand your work better. Great. Draw a little Ken Wilber stick figure. Okay. Ken Wilber stick figure. Is he wears square glasses or round? I think they're round. I think they're like thick, round glasses. And then he's just got his... I think every photo I've ever seen him in, he was bald. And then he's got a pretty square jaw, if I remember. Probably narrower face than that. And he has like this little smirk on his book cover. He's like, I made a theory of everything. There's 4 headlines. Everything. Okay. W for Wilbur. You're welcome, Tyreek. Kyle Smith. Oh, I just answered that one. Jiggle Slinky says, will you make a Blue Sky account? Why? Don't waste my time with these questions. Anyone who doesn't know, Blue Sky is what is the logo? Is it a butterfly? I'll look it up. It's the new liberal Twitter, which it's never going to work. They're making their own place for them to talk, and everyone's banning each other because it's a purity spiral. They're all destroying each other because they'll say, hey guys, I'm new here, and someone will go, I'm new phobic. You didn't give me a trigger warning that you were new. I have a condition. Yeah, it's a butterfly. So they're all torturing each other to death instead of us. I don't understand why you'd want me to make an account on Blue Sky. Like, what on earth do you think is going to happen? I'll go on there and I'll say one thing and I'll get banned. And then, like, I could have spent that afternoon working out or something. You want me to die of heart disease? Is that what you're saying? Trying to kill me? Trying to murder me by giving me absolutely worthless wastes of time to spend my life on instead of it's not even like a whole butterfly. It's like just the wings. That's funny. Like, that's the logo. It's just the wings with no butterfly part. Yeah, those people are, like, I know I say it a lot. I know I run my mouth a lot, but I just really cannot express how disgusting I find them. It's disgusting. It makes me really, like, feel phantom pain in my guts to think about these people all whining to each other about all the different things they need recognized. I need a special kind of chair, and you need to say my middle name twice, and victim, and they're all just banning each other over it. It's just so, God. That's what's making my trip so hard. All the places that I like are full of those people, and they have lost their minds, and I can't live around them. I actually just left one of those places and drove a few hours away where I'm staying right now. And I spoke to somebody, I went out to the store, and they were like, oh, you're not from here. They saw my license. And I said, what are you doing out here? And I explained it to them. And I told them why I couldn't live near the city. And I forgot what they said, but it was something like, it's a nice place to visit, but I would never want to talk to anyone I met there again. And I felt the same way. They're so irritating. They're sick. They're sick people. High-powered. Jiggle Slinky says, it would be fun to read all the angry replies you get. I wouldn't get any, they would ban me. High-powered says, what percentage of men would have to fully drop out of the dating market to affect women's dating standards, assuming other men are filling the spots of the men that dropped out? Wait, what? Your question doesn't make any sense. What percentage of men would have to drop out, assuming other men are filling the spots? Well, then it would be infinity, because then there would be new men to fill the spot. I think your question was written incorrectly. I think I'm just going to answer the first part of your question. What percentage of men would have to drop out of the dating market to affect women's dating standards? Probably quite a lot. I would say more than half. I would say maybe 90%, because, as we've discovered, women are perfectly content to share. If they find a guy that they like enough, they will just ignore him having 6 other girlfriends, because they will all convince themselves that I'm the real girlfriend, and those other girls are going to go away one day. And the guy, of course, doesn't have it. And in his mind, he doesn't have any girlfriends. He's just having fun with all of them, and they're all going to get dumped when he gets bored. So it like one guy can entertain 4 women at a time. Maybe 5 or 6 if he sees them infrequently enough. And then when he gets rid of one and adds another one to the roster, then there's one girl who's in a cool-off period in between guys for a while. So potentially one guy, if he's likable enough, if he's tall and attractive and has enough money, potentially one guy could be enough for like 9 or 10 women, because they will have a situationship with him for a few months, and then they stop talking, and she just thinks about him and doesn't find anyone else. It goes back to him, and he's just juggling them the whole time. I would say potentially 9 or 10 would be the upper limit. So it's like only 10% of men could fill the needs of all of the women better than them lowering their standards. That's just a guess. This is not science. But I am pretty good at guessing. David Wagner says, are you able to recall a relationship in which you were hesitant to tap into dark side powers? Oh, yeah. Pretty much all of them before I was like 28, 29. So I had a bad girlfriend when I was 23, and I didn't use any dark side powers there. And then I started learning more about women, but I didn't, and I understood the dark side stuff that you're talking about, but I didn't apply it. I didn't use it. I started using it in little bits around 26, 27. But for that whole period, it was like just because I knew those things worked, didn't make me want to do them. But now I have kind of learned that there are times where you just have to do them. Like, there are times where your girlfriend is going to give you a problem over nothing, and you can't nice your way out of it. You have to just like close the door and go get a hotel and just let her struggle with her feelings, because it's like, I'm not going to, if you treat me this way, I didn't do anything wrong. So if you're going to treat me like this, I'm gone. Bye-bye. And I'm not talking to you for a few days, and you can just feel bad about that. These are not nice things to do, but sometimes you must do them to preserve the relationship, because otherwise, like if she's, treating you poorly over nothing and you let her, she'll lose respect for you, stop being attracted to you, and then cheat or leave. So it was pretty much every relationship before I was maybe 28 or 29. I don't like doing it. I'm always hesitant to do it because I want to view the women I date as equal. I want to be able to talk to them the way I would talk to myself, but that is not how you keep one. You have to talk to them like they're women. Stephen Bagnell says, what's your opinion on the 3 attachment styles types? I've been over that one quite a lot too, Stephen. That's like a FAQ question. I have some videos on it that you can go back and watch. I'm not really like an expert on the subject in and of itself. I think that some of these behavioral traits are genetic and some of them are learned. And I think that there are just certain strategies for dealing with each one. And it's important to know what you are too, to know when you're the problem. Other than that, I've been over attachment types before. I don't want to just keep answering the same, like, what do you think about Andrew Tate? It's kind of the same question over and over. Sorry, Stephen. I think it's a good tool to use to get to know yourself and others and understand relationships. Mr. Enigmatic says, hey, Hellmath, just want to say I'm a fan of your work. Thank you. And if you're interested in joining other creators to discuss your work, dating culture, etc. Yeah, I do that all the time. I've spoken with, I did events with, I guess I'm not going to use this part of that. I did events with What If Alt Hist, and Mac and Murphy. He's a popular relationship research guy. And I'm talking to someone else soon. I forgot his name. I did Playing with Fire. I did that one a while ago. I was on several lives with Michael Sartain. He's a fun guy. He's just partying out in Vegas. Crazy. He knows the boat guy, what's his name? The rich guy who went crazy lately and is yelling about Israel all the time. Dan, whatever. I can't remember his name. Yeah, so I've done these before, and I'm going to do more. I have one scheduled, and I have several other people reaching out And then, I'll reach out to other people too, like Orion, Taraban, and so on and so forth. But yeah, I'm interested in that. I think those always make really good events, getting two, popular people together and having them talk. The Royal We says, sometimes I cry tears of happiness out. Oh, I'm not going to read that. Don't give me rude questions. This is just a gross question. He's talking about his no area. Avocado Atrocity says subscription fee. You say that like every week. He just goes subscription fee and sends me money. I think that it's his joke about how he's pretending to be obligated to send money just because he wants to support me. Thank you, friend. Draw avocado. Avocados are easy to draw. James Bedant. It's a cool last name. Is that how you pronounce it? Is it French? Is it Bedant? James Bedant. What is the trap of the hippie level of consciousness? Why is it there and how can it be avoided? Well, I'm not sure if it can be avoided. I think it has to be processed. And the trap of it is, it's called a performative contradiction. So that the hippie level of consciousness, when he's talking about, is of course level 6, the one that I bitch about the most, because it has so much power in today's world, and it is using it so destructively, even though it doesn't know that it's doing that. The hippie level is the understand level. So you have basically absolute chaos, homeless people, tribal people, inner city gangs, Amazon tribes. This is like the mafia or like ancient Rome or maybe a large clan or a family. And then this is your nation state. This would be like Athens or Sparta. They have an identity and they have rules for living, and or like Islam or Christianity, they have rules. And then you have the modern world, keeping up with the Joneses and going to college and getting the jobs. And then after that, it's like, well, life is about more than material. I have to find out who I am, right? This is the hippie level. That's what he called the hippie level. That's what James called the hippie level. And he said, what is the trap of the hippie level? And it's called a performative contradiction. And what basically happens when you get up to this level in your cognitive and your moral lines is you begin to think of everybody as just different but equal. And there's no one way to look at life that's right, because it all depends on where you come from. It's like, well, you see it this way and I see it that way. And so who's to say who's right? And the problem with that is that they tend to create structures that treats everybody as equal, but then other people, particularly at these lower levels, they say, well, I don't want to treat others as equal. For example, I think Islam is the answer, and I want to make everybody be Muslim. We're going to do Sharia law. You're going to follow my law or else. And then level 6 goes, but we're all supposed to get along and love each other. And he goes, no, only me, only my way. So the performative contradiction is that everyone is right, but only as long as you agree with me that everyone is right. So you have to agree that everybody is right from their own perspective. You have to agree with that, or you're wrong. So it's just actually another way of saying, I'm the only one who's right. Down here, people will say, Christianity is the only thing that's right. Islam is the only thing. Atheism is the only thing that's right. And then up here, it's like, yeah, you do you and I'll do me. And then it's up here, it's like, well, we all need to understand each other. And But if you don't want to get along with everyone and you think your way of living is better than everyone else's, then level 6 says, well, actually, my way of treating everyone as equal is better than yours. And how can that be? If everyone's way of looking at things is equal, then how can your way be better? So you see how that defeats itself? I don't think that you can get out of that trap. I don't think you can avoid it on your way up the developmental hierarchy. But I think that if you know what it looks like and what it feels like, that you can catch yourself doing it and help yourself move through it faster. But I think that anybody who goes from 5 to 6 to 7 is going to catch themselves doing that at some point. We all need to just look at oh, wait a minute. No, I actually have to let people be what they want to be. which means maybe we are not going to get along. But yeah, that's the trap. Good question, James. Chris O'Connell says, my wife has caught the woke mind virus. Welp, I just shouldn't give you my first instinct on advice for that. Good luck to you. Is it possible to red pill her, or is she a lost cause? It's possible, but it's super difficult. It's going to be really, really unlikely, because you're going to have to remember that most people, women especially, have their beliefs built entirely from emotions and not from facts. So you cannot just tell her facts. You can't just say, actually, honey, here's the thing that's true, because she'll go, you're a racist, sexist, Donald Trump, you know, whatever. That's the kind of response that you're going to get if you try that. So what you actually have to do is use emotion to your advantage, and you have to give her, you have to find a way to put her through emotional experiences that prove that she's wrong. So if she has some woke belief about whatever thing, I don't know what example to give, but she has a woke belief about we should totally like adopt someone from one of those pygmy tribes in Africa because they're all they need is a chance, and then they'll be exactly like us. It's kind of like, well, you know, why don't you go there and hang out with them and see how much they want to listen to you? And then when she has the emotional experience of finding out that she was wrong, that's the kind of thing that teaches woke people that they were wrong the most effectively. But sometimes it doesn't even work. Like there were a lot of videos from the George Floyd riots where there was like white people standing in their windows in cities, and there was a march going by outside, and they would go in the window and they would do the fist and they would go, yeah, we're with you, but then someone would throw a brick through the window. And then they would say, whoa, hey, we're on your side. And it's like, those people don't care if you're on their side. Those people have decided that they don't like you. You can't be on their side. They don't want you to be. So, you know, they're not, the people that you're cheering for are not going to give you the wokeness points like your friends from where you come from. And that's a shocker for some people. That's enough to teach them. You've got to give her experiences like that. Like you've got to, when you find out what her beliefs are, when she says them, you got to actually make her deal with the consequences of her beliefs somehow. You have to make her live through, like, oh, is this what you said was true and what you wanted? This is what you love? Okay, here you go. And then let her find out whether or not it's something she actually wants to promote and wants in her life. There's the avocado. I said it was easy to draw, and then I spent too much time on it anyway. So yeah, good luck, Chris. Good luck red pilling your wife. Ooh, I got a lot of questions today. Johnny Punch Clock says, Forrest Gump had a toxic love interest too, and women love that movie. Do they? Maybe. I mean, it's not like a woman classic like Titanic, but yeah, Jenny was Jenny. She was terrible. And yeah, Forrest was a total simp. Mecha Streisand 1 says, nothing to add, just really appreciating the content from NH. Oh, you're in NH. If you're ever up here again, I'll buy you a beer. Okay, I might come back. I think I'm very likely to rent an apartment out west, but it might only be for 1 year. I don't know. I haven't even like really priced apartments yet. I gotta leave tomorrow and then get a new Airbnb for a week or so and start checking the place out. Yuck, this guy again says, without implying disagreement with your videos / points, do you think that there will always be a gender war or power / victim mentality conflict between the genders? Yeah, of course. It's just that it made it into law and culture to this extent. That's pretty new. I mean, I say new, but I mean new for our time period. Like there's an old Greek play called Assembly Women, and it is about women running Greece or Athens or something, and they do all the things that the women are doing now. They do all equality stuff and they redistribute all the money and everything is insane and absurd and everything collapses. So, like, we've known about this before. Women see the world in a certain way and men see the world in a certain way, and it doesn't match. And the only way that it works is when they keep to their appropriate territories, which is why we have, you know, this is why I'm using the AQAL system, the levels and the lines and everything. You have to take the way that women think and put it in a place where it does good. And every once in a while, the women get this idea like, well, we should be in charge. We should run the government. And that's not what the average woman's mind is good for. Men are better at that. Men are better at understanding where wealth comes from and where to put it if you want a certain effect. Women just kind of give wealth to whoever is the most needy baby. Oh, the babies they need. And then you end up like giving away your nation's wealth to people who don't ever do anything but ask for more. And they just always have their hands out. It's like, gimme, 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 gimme. And the women are like, we need to give them more and more and more until you have nothing left. So yeah, it happens every once in a while. This is, I think, probably the worst that it's ever been in history, as far as I know. But yeah, there's always going to be a tension between men and women. And the solution to that tension is always going to be figuring out what to give the women to do that makes them happy and is good for everybody, and figuring out what to give the men to do that makes them happy and is good for everybody. And right now you have women insisting that they want to do man stuff, and they're miserable and on SSRIs and not having children, giving away all our money, and everyone's poor. It's just a really, really bad miscalculation of like what power is and what privilege is and how you get it. They've just been deluded into thinking that if they do man stuff, that they will all be like Tom Cruise or something. Like they're all going to be a CEO, even though men are not all CEOs. It's just so deluded. Reality tells lies. Oh no, wait a minute, I skipped one. Michael Thomas says, bummed out. A girl I liked is a pothead, and I've been sober for 2.5 years now. I don't even get drunk anymore. Stay clean, kings. Oh yeah, that's annoying. I definitely at certain points have liked girls and then found out that they were big potheads. And, they always wanted to be stoned around me, and they would smoke in my apartment, and I was like, just had to wait for them to stop being ridiculous. And it was like, yeah, I'm never going to join you for this. I don't like it. And it was something to tolerate. It definitely is not a good match for one person to get, altered too much on a certain substance when you're not also doing that. And of course, most of the substances are not good for you anyway. So it's like, I don't know, if you want to smoke a little pot or have a couple beers with someone, that's fine. But if you meet someone who is like an everyday pothead and that's not for you, that can be weird. Reality Tells Lies says, you've talked about the 4B before. Yeah, a few times. With some women adapting it in America after the election, would you say the same point you made about women being mad at God, the universe, or is this more childish? Well, it's an abstraction. They're mad at God and the universe in the same way as I said in that video, but they're expressing it at men. Like, it's so abstract that women are just thinking, okay, Donald Trump won the election because of men. So they just sort of have this idea that like women are here and men are here, and men are the reason that Trump won. But they're actually were a lot of men who voted for Kamala. And those are the men that live near the women that voted for Kamala. They live nearby each other. So these women are all screaming and shaving their heads and saying, oh, I'm going to punish men now, but they're actually punishing the men who were already on their sides. And that's why it doesn't do you any good to be a simp. That's why being a simp is dumb, because the women don't like you and don't respect you, and they'll punish you for what other men do. So the women are mad at these guys over here, and those guys couldn't care less because they don't even live in the city, and they're like, haha. And now these guys have to suffer. So yeah, it's pretty childish. But when you say, is it that they're mad at God or is it more childish? It's really the same thing. They're just expressing something that it doesn't ever really land in the real world. It doesn't ever really touch the real world, because they're attempting to punish men, but the men who actually did the thing they don't like are not there and don't care, and the men who did the thing they like are being ignored. So they're just sort of expressing themselves like, I don't like it. I don't like it. It's a very unskillful means of protest for them. Mr. Enigmatic says, I run production for The Crucible with Andrew Wilson. I know Andrew Wilson. We'd love to have you on for a chat about your work. What is The Crucible with Andrew Wilson? Is that his show? Yeah, I'll be on. I mean, Andrew messaged me, like he DMs me on Twitter sometimes. You can just have him talk to me there. Yeah, I'll be on. I like Andrew. For sure. You can inbox me. You can have him DM me on Twitter. You can email me. Whatever. I'll be on. The Royal Wee says it's a joke. He's talking about his previous post. Elizabeth Davis just gave me $2. Thank you, Elizabeth. No question from Elizabeth. Nick EG Official says 7 on pretty much everything except relationships. I got a 4. What's your view on soulmates? Cool. Thanks for taking the test. What's your view on soulmates? It's just a way of people saying they feel really strongly about someone. There are people who have 7 different soulmates in their lives. You're my soulmate. It just means I really like you and not anyone else. It's mistaking an emotional process, which is identifying somebody as, like, the reason that one person gets bonded to another person is because that emotional bond helps them stay together through a pregnancy and the birth of a child in the first few years of its life. That's about how long the bond lasts. It's like long enough to meet, get pregnant, give birth, and have the kid up and running around by himself. And then that's just about when people get sick of each other. It's about long enough to raise one kid. So people will say, oh, you're my soulmate, when they're just feeling a chemical reaction. Believing in soulmates might be why I'm an 8 to 10 look scale, trauma bonded to a 4 that idolizes me. Yeah, I mean, I suppose you could look at it that way. If you believe in them, then you're just kind of convincing yourself to be with someone, even though it's not necessarily. It's pretty harsh, man, that you're calling yourself a potential 10 and you're trauma bonded to a 4. Ouch. Roger Penrose says, I've been unemployed for a while now. Is this okay for some women, or should I focus on getting a job before going back on dating? Definitely don't spend a lot of time dating. Most women are going to want to see that you either have something going on or you're building towards something. If you're just like, hey, I'm Roger Penrose, that's it. What do you do? I'm Roger Penrose. That's not going to be enough for, like, most women. Unless you're really good looking, and then they will pretend that you're run Google. Son of Hastur says 07 catching the VOD as usual. That doesn't mean anything to me. I see levels and I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I really can't wait to start working on those videos. I really am so disappointed that I did not find a place to live that I'm excited about. but I'm just going to live in a place anyway and get to work, I guess, instead of enjoying life. Just work. Elizabeth Davis, opinion on why women are attracted to gay men. That is a good question. I think, number one, it has a lot to do with that gay men are they have personality characteristics that encourage them to take care of themselves more. And I believe that I remember that they are generally better looking facially and in better shape. So I think that gay men actually just have more of the physical traits that women are looking for in the first place. But then also, they're more feminine, and people like things that are like themselves. Like, I like women that can be masculine. I like women that can think like a guy sometimes. Not all the time, but I like women that understand the way I think, rather than just being all glitter and butterflies. And like, that's kind of boring to me. I do really prefer to be around women that I can share perspectives with, rather than just like, I'll be over here doing man things and you be over there doing woman things, and I'm interested in you and you're interested in me, rather than us both being interested in the same things. I really do prefer someone who gets me. It's not necessary, though, for a relationship. You can just be a regular guy dating a regular girl, and you don't have to have anything in common as long as you're interested in each other. So, yeah, I think that those are the main reasons. Somebody suggested to me once that there's something about converting him that would make a woman feel special, where it's like, oh, you don't even like girls, but you liked me, so I'm extra super special. I think there might be something in there too. But I think it's mostly just because they tend to be more attractive and more feminine in their behavior and communication. That's my take on that. Michael Kazakov just says, you the goat. Thank you. Angela Heister says, how do I get 30-year-old daughter to listen to your content? Have you've sent it to her and she said she doesn't want to? Maybe you could take one of the lessons from one of my videos and get her to understand it, and then say you heard it from me and say you should listen to this guy because that's where I got that from. You would have to prove it to her. Like, you'd have to use something that I said to predict something that's going on in her life or to solve a problem for her. And then when she goes, how did you know that? How'd you do that? Then say, oh, it came from this guy. So you should just get over the name and watch him. The best way to get people into something is to show them what it does for them. That's really all that anyone really cares about. You can't lecture at people and say, like, you should brush your teeth because it's good for you. You have to show kids pictures of cavities and go, your teeth will rot, and then you'll have to have them drilled if you don't brush your teeth. And they go, oh, I don't want that. You show them why it's good for them. So you would have to show her, and not just tell her, but show her, give her an emotional visual experience of, like, this advice could help you in this way if you don't want your teeth to rot or whatever. Yuck, again, says, I feel fake now going to church and feeling the need to act like a sheeple, understanding the role community activities have and perspectives of members. I don't know what you're talking about. You feel fake going to church and feeling like you have to act like a sheeple, so you're pretending to believe in church. Understanding the role community activities have and perspectives of members. Okay. I don't know what you're talking about. Are you saying that you think that you're manipulating people by pretending to believe what they believe? I don't think you have to look at it that way. I think you can go to church for whatever reason you want. I mean, I don't think I ever advocated just like lying and saying that you believe in a thing that you don't. Like, you can go to church for whatever reason you want. I think what you're saying is that you feel like you're manipulating them by pretending to be religious. You don't have to pretend to be religious. Stephen Bagnell says, I scored 6 on every level test. I'm tolerant of most anyone. Is it really that bad of a level to be? It's not a bad level to be. It's just bad if you try to make it into the law. It's bad if you try to make people live your way. which a lot of people at level 6 do. They just go, everyone should be tolerant. And it's like, well, a lot of people don't want to be tolerant. They're not interested in being tolerant, and you're forcing it down their throats. Be tolerant. That's like, nobody wants that. So as long as you don't do that to people and you let them live the way they want, like, oh, I don't want to live with your tolerate everyone mentality. As long as you go, okay, that's for you. But if you see people saying, well, you know, we want a space to ourselves and we want to, like, we don't support this, like, something that people at level 6 very often do is they don't respond well if someone says, well, I don't really support homosexuality and I wouldn't want like a gay flag on my house, and I just don't think it's a good lifestyle to promote. A lot of people at level 6 will be like, but you have to be tolerant. And it's like, no, they don't. People can like and not like whatever they want. So as long as you're not doing that shoving it down people's throat thing, there's no levels that are bad to be. It's just that they have their ways of being bad. And level 6's way of being bad is doing a huge amount of damage right now. Garrett Vranikar is back with more money advice. He says, taking risks or gambles can pay well. I profited $10K off the election from betting. Oh, Jesus, man. You're telling people to gamble on the election? I did research, thought I had good odds, then bet big. When there's a good opportunity for high ROI, then take a big gamble. I don't support that message. I don't think that. I think a lot of people convince themselves that they know what's going to happen, and then they make a bet, and then it works out, and they go, "Yeah, see, I knew it," but really, it was just more of chance than they wanted to admit. I don't advocate gambling. I view it as a net loss because everybody believes that they can figure it out, but most people lose, so it's usually not true. That's crazy advice, Garrett. Abiyash is back as well, and he says, are music and art pretty powerful magic? Yeah, they can be, because I was discussing magic with people on Twitter recently, and it seems that it almost seems like what magic is in the spiritual sense is just concealing from people the way that you're influencing them. Like you write a word and, you tell people the word while they're looking at a picture or hearing a song or something, and they're not really paying attention to the fact that the song is giving them an emotion that they're associating with the word. And so you're sort of concealing it from them. Even though you're doing both things in front of their face, it's like the music is giving them instructions about how to feel about the word. And in that sense, yeah, art, if it's beautiful and stimulating and makes people have feelings, it can change what people feel about things. Like if you make a nice, stirring, happy song and you play it along with whatever word, and enough people see it, they'll start feeling that about the word, and then you've made a change in a lot of people, and you've changed their behavior as well, which is like what people talk about magic being in the spiritual sense, rather than the playing card sense, rather than the magic tricks. So what was your question again? Are art and music pretty powerful magic? I guess so. Talking about what magic is kind of difficult. A lot of people are not really ready to treat that word with respect, but sure. Yeah, it's efficient. It evokes strong emotions instantly and without using words. Yes, that's right. So it's efficient, quick, and pre-verbal. Mm-hmm. Art is currently overwhelmingly left-wing, probably for a reason. Of course. I'm very settled in my belief that most mass media is a brainwashing program. Most of it is just like people don't necessarily know it, but the people who are selected as actors and actresses and people who are selected to write scripts, they're being chosen by people who have an agenda. So it's not the scriptwriter necessarily who has an agenda, but the person who's saying, you woke girl with a half a shaved head, you can write the script. But this guy, regular, everyday guy, you have been rejected. We didn't like your script. So yeah, I believe that there are gatekeepers definitely manipulating people through art and music by making careful selections about who they make popular, and then also telling them more or less what to write and what to do. Like I don't think Britney Spears wrote any of her songs. I'm not sure about that, but I'm pretty sure that there are a lot of artists like that. Can you do a Homath Patrice O'Neill Venn diagram? Not off the top of my head, no. I know that he is like, he talks about like pretty much just cheating to prove to her that you can cheat. And I don't think that's necessary. Like, he's not wrong about the effects that it has. He does a bit about women and fishing, and how you'll catch a fish and throw it back, and then it jumps back in the boat, and then she says, why are you coming home smelling like other fish? And he says, well, because you need to know I can catch fish, because otherwise you won't act right. I don't know how to do a Venn diagram. It's just like, I think that I'm more holistic, and he's more selfish. Like, his advice is much more red pill, where it's like amoral and do you and get what's good for you. And mine is more like, world's kind of falling apart because we're doing too much of that. Just put a brain in here for understanding, because I don't think I ever heard him say anything that was incorrect. Maybe morally wrong, but not like factually. I think he just understood what he was doing. So I guess that's as much of a Venn diagram as I can do on the spot. Patrice is such a weird name for a dude. Reinhold Hettinger says, with how cutthroat dating is, how do you have hope of finding love when the ROI keeps decreasing and women keep turning more narcissistic? You just have to accept that the odds are getting bad. Like, just because it's harder than it used to be and conditions are so bad out there, it doesn't mean it's not going to happen. It does mean it's more difficult. And it does mean that a lot of men are going to view it as being less worthwhile. And it's just up to you to decide, do you want to tolerate that or not? I'm not doing much about it right now. There were a couple of girls who contacted me this year, and one of them wanted me to go to a foreign country and, I don't know, marry her and have kids or something. And then another one wanted me to stop by on my way across the country, but it was out of my way. And I was like, I kind of can't drive an extra 5 hours to get a coffee with you, you know what I mean? And I didn't have time to get to know her either. So I'm not putting that much effort into it right now. I don't know if I even care anymore. It's just up to you to decide, do you want to participate in the market or not? Don't worry about like hope. Oh, how can we hope to? There's people finding relationships. It's not like it used to be. It's not as good as it used to be, but it's happening. Do you want to take your chances? Then go do it. But don't worry about like, how are you going to find hope? Just do it or don't do it. It's like Miss USA, right? There's 50 of them, and only one of them is going to win. What if they all just said, but there's only a 1 out of 50 chance? How can I have hope? Just do it or don't do it. Participate or don't participate. If you want it, go for it. Garrett Vranikar, money advice. Pay your farmer to save you from paying the doctor. I had heartburn, GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disease, and instead of paying for expensive prescriptions, I fixed my nutrition, eating organic produce as pastured raised animal products is great. Yeah. Diet is the best medicine. If you eat the right kind of food, you will be healthy. Just having a conversation about seed oils, which I don't know much about. I do believe what people say, that they're probably not as good for you. I don't know. People say all kinds of stuff, like they cause inflammation, whatever. But for sure, yeah, high quality food is what you should be eating. I don't even feel that good about eating bread anymore. I'm eating like eggs and butter and meat, and then sometimes I'll have like tortillas or bread or something, and that part makes me feel like kind of chubby and guilty. I don't know, eat more fruit. But for sure, yeah, that's good advice because it'll save you medical bills. Axel Hose says, love your content. Can we see a drawing of Kamala driving a UFO? Okay. Let's go like this. Just do her dumb hair. A frowny face. And a tear. She's crying because she lost the election and then crashed her UFO. I don't know why you thought Kamala might be in a UFO, but I wonder what UFOs sound like. I bet there's lots of different kinds of them. UFOs are real. People get so mad when you say that because, God, people are just so dumb lately. That I know that a lot of you are in the generation I'm about to insult, but suck it up, I guess. This new generation, both of them, like the Zoomers and the Alphas, they just seem so much dumber. And that's not to say that millennials are flawless. Like they made a huge amount of mistakes and they're all like goofy, cringy cucks and everything like that. I'm not saying that they're better, but when I was a kid, I remember lots of people like being able to spell and being able to read. And I'm noticing that a lot of people will make mistakes. Like if you say UFOs are real, which is true, is definitely true, they'll think that what you just said was aliens are real. And that's not the same thing. Like a UFO is an unidentified flying object. We know for sure that there are objects apparently flying around on our radar. We don't know what they are, where they came from, and they exhibit properties that seem like physically impossible, like they move too fast, and that's definitely real. But sometimes I'll say that and they'll go, "You're a conspiracy theorist. You believe in reptile aliens." But I didn't say that. So, like, in these next two generations, it seems like there's just a lot of people that if you say anything is true, then they will just make a bunch of associations with it, and they will think that you meant their associations. Like they can't tell the difference between their unexamined associations and what you actually said with your words. I'm noticing that there's usually younger people doing this too, and they didn't do that when I was younger. There's Kamala. Oh no, the people who live upstairs are cooking and it smells really good. I'm not gonna make anything for dinner that smells that good. I'm hungry now. Ostrike says, it seems they're now competing to out-hoe each other. They always do that. Women have been doing that forever. Their hierarchy is exclusively amongst themselves with no regard for male husband disapproval. Well, they just think that they can get infinity men forever. They delude themselves into thinking that Prince Charming is just around the corner. So they compete with each other because they want to be at the top of the heap for when Prince Charming gets there. And they forget that they have to impress him. They just think that why wouldn't I be perfect? Why wouldn't the best man in the world pick me? As long as I'm beating all the other girls. So yeah, when you say competing to out-hoe each other, for sure, it gets It gets ugly sometimes. Like, I was talking earlier about that bad girlfriend I had when I was 23. There was a girl who we were friends with who was never interested in me before I had a girlfriend, but then as soon as I did, she would just keep trying to get me to cheat with her. And there was one time where she basically just took all her clothes off in my bedroom and then invited me in while my girlfriend was in the shower. So yeah, they get nuts. They get competitive. It's always been that way, but of course the culture and the internet makes it worse. Kai Salas says, my buddy found his wife through his YouTube, Instagram, and suggested I use creative outlets like that to attract a good woman. Do you think it's worth trying, or is it a matter of getting lucky in the process? It's a matter of getting lucky. Do you know how to build an audience? Are you certain that you could build a large audience? Because I get a lot of attention from women, and some of them are really young and attractive and intelligent, and some of them look really good. And I'm going to have to, like, fly them in when I get an apartment because they're never near me. Like, there was this one woman who seemed pretty cool, but she lived out in the middle of nowhere in Montana, and I wasn't going out there. It wasn't even like a city in Montana. It was like a 4,000 person town. And so like that can work if you want to find a woman that way. But remember, I have like 2 million followers across all my platforms. And I get, I don't know, 20 or 30 direct offers every year. And if I tried really hard, and every time a woman said something nice to me, I investigated, like, oh, are you single? I could probably bump that up to 100. But I'm just not trying right now. Like, it's like 20 or 30 women will come out of the woodwork and say, I like you, but I have 2 million audience. So what do you have to offer? How attractive are you? What do you have that women like? If it's enough and you think you can build an audience of a few 100,000, then sure, that would work. But then you have to also remember that you are probably going to have to fly her out to you. Most of building an audience is luck, I think. Bollocks McGee says, my favorite mathematician has returned, and then did the face. That funny meme face with the lips and the teeth. And then the eyes next to each other like this. I never really understood what that was supposed to mean, other than just like it's a goofy expression. It always looks kind of shocked but dumb. Is that what it's supposed to mean? Is it supposed to look like a person who's shocked for the wrong reasons, like the Pikachu meme, where something very predictable happens, but then Pikachu is shocked about it? I don't know what this is supposed to mean, but it's funny. See, this is the one thing I don't like about these pilot G2s. If you ever do like a line really fast, they get goopy. And then they spread and smear. Some of my charts are so messy. They've got like smear marks from my G2 ink. And people buy them. It's ridiculous. It's like the stuff that I make is so high quality that it can look like trash. And people will go like, I don't care that it has smudges and crap on it. It's just fun to look at and think about. That's nuts. I'm doing well. Kai Salas says, for context, I can play guitar, am learning piano, and have considered starting a channel to show my music off. Music's tough. You can't just play music and expect to skyrocket. You have to look at what other people who do the same kind of music as you, like they play guitar and everything, look for the most popular videos and copy them. And just do what they do. Don't do that thing where you're like, hi everyone, I'm new here, I'll play guitar for you. You kind of have to like go on TikTok and just start a video like when someone swipes, then it's just you in the middle of a solo and you look great and the lighting is perfect. Copy the ones that are popular if you want to build a following. You have to right away. You have to get people right away. You have to get them engaged with sound and visually, and you have to be giving them something that makes them feel good. Stephen Bagnall says, is there a way to fix crazy city people? The answer is not always. You can offer people a chance to be fixed. You can tell them, like, hey, here's the truth over here if you want to hear it, but if they start screeching and scratching at you, you just got to let them rot in their insanity. Sometimes they don't want help. Elizabeth Davis says, opinion on conservative men lying to liberal women about their politics. I mean, I do that. I will continue to do that. If I continue to meet women in real life, and they are obviously liberal, and they ask me about my politics, I'm just gonna lie. I'm not gonna, oh yeah, I voted for Trump. I'm not gonna stand around and get screeched at and get food thrown at me and all that crap. They're insane. They're insane, and they're violent, and they're crazy, and they're abusive, and I'm so tired of being treated that way for no reason that I'm just not gonna respect them enough to tell them the truth from now on. I'm just going to like wait until a point where they already like me too much to back out, and then start like trickle truthing it, and just go, oh, by the way, did you ever think about me? And she'll go, wait a minute, huh? But then it's too late because you already like me. That's the only way to do it, and they forced us into it, and it's dishonest, but also I don't care. Like that's not something that sets off my moral radar. Liberal women they have lost the plot. They are crazy and abusive and detached from reality, and so I don't think that it's even wrong to lie to them about that. The Ultimega Man says, do the levels work consistently for everyone, or do some people get to higher levels differently? I.e. is level 6 always tolerance before higher levels? It's always sequential, always. So everybody experiences them differently because, we're all different. So men will tend to go through them in a masculine way, women will tend to go through them in a feminine way. And, if you're more of a thinker, then some of these levels will make more sense to you. If you're more of a feeler, then other ones will make more sense to you. They interact with your personality. It's like a whole multiplication thing. So the kind of person that you are is going to react differently to these levels. I am a person who I do very poorly if I don't understand the situation that I'm in, and if I don't have stuff set up, like everything I own is at 90-degree angles, and it's all where I put it, and everything is associated with everything else. Like I have a drawer. It's not a drawer anymore because I'm living out of my car. It's a bag, but it's like batteries and wires and all the technology things and the things that screw together for my, the bendy arm that holds my camera. All that, like a tech bag. I'm a very, very orderly, organized person. So when I went through this level and I couldn't really understand reality from one angle, it was really difficult for me. And it made me not understand where to go and what to do. And I was just endlessly looking and looking and looking for information to give me certainty until I got up to here and realized that the certainty has to come from inside of yourself. You have to go, oh, there isn't, it was always fake to believe that there's a final answer. Because here, you believe that there's only one way. And here you believe that you can find the truth. And that it's not necessarily written in the Bible or anything, but you can figure out what's the best thing. And then over here, it's like, well, there's no best thing. There's just different ways of looking at it. And then up here, it's like, oh, the best thing is the one that I pick. It all comes from me. The best choice is the one that I want and can do and can make happen. So the lower down you are, the more reality is coming at you from the outside. And the higher up you are, the more that you are deciding the way that reality works for you. So for me, this level was really difficult, but I know I've met a lot of women who are so comfortable in it that they are never going to leave. So it works differently for everyone, absolutely. But there is no, like, people definitely don't jump around because it's sequential. This one is built out of this one. This one is built out of this one. It's like these are cells and these are molecules. You can have molecules without a cell, but you can't have a cell without any molecules. You can't get to a higher level without the previous one because the higher one is built of the previous one. It's made out of it. Garrett ran a car again. Money advice. Be willing to travel for work. I'm getting armed security license after CDL. I remember you saying this last time or the time before. Armed security jobs in the suburbs like Ardmore and Villanova pay double as much as armed security in Philly. Oh, so you're even giving people local advice. Cool. Hang on, I'm going to take some water. Okay. I had to drink a lot of water. The Royal We says, X started texting, flirting me. I asked her why. She said it was because her boyfriend's something doesn't work because he's depressed. And he says, we had fun. I made a joke about her boyfriend. She got mad at me. Why are girls so awful and contradictory? Well, I have a drawing about that I meant to make a video about, and then I never got around to it, but I will do it at some point because it's a relatively short video. Somebody, someone told me that he and his girlfriend, these were the two of them, they were trying to get through a line of protesters, and they were all crying about their gimme's, right? And he was watching my content, and he said, okay, I should do bad boy stuff, right? I should not be like weak and pliable and, oh, everyone is right except for me. So he was with his girlfriend, and he plowed through them, and he was like, try and stop me. I am not dealing with this wah gimme crap. And his girlfriend was mad at him. And he said, but why? Why would she be mad at me when I did the bad boy thing? So I drew him this picture, and I explained to him that you share some space with your girlfriend, right? And she likes you and you like her, and you both have things to do. So you are helping her, right, get your things to do together by blasting through these people. But what you forgot is that your girlfriend also shares space with the wah fifi gimme people, because she's a girl and she watches all brainwashing. So even though you don't like them, and this fuck you energy here, he just plowed through them with it, what he was ignoring is that his girlfriend was emotionally attached to them and felt for them. Oh, but wah fifis, they just want to love. They just want to love and get wah fifis, and they just want to give me swear. So when he did that to them, he also did that to her, and she was upset about that, and made him deal with her being upset about that later. And then I added some stuff over here about, like, this is where the beta males will come in and go, oh, me too, even though they don't actually care about the whatever the crying thing is. Oh, me too, so you should like me. And they're like little bugs, little cockroaches trying to get crumbs. This part I never finished. It's just scrolling out. Although the whiny idiot media is a big problem. So then, what was the answer to your question? Why are girls so awful and contradictory? Because even though you had something in common with her, which is she's cheating on her boyfriend with you, it doesn't mean that she hates him. So when you said something mean about him, that hurt her feelings too, because she's like, I still love him even though I'm cheating on him. Girls are like that. So she's still attached to the guy that you were making fun of. That's why. Abiosh says, non-leftists should probably use more art in their messages, not only words. Well, it's not about whether or not they use art. It's about who controls the art we see. It's about who approves the movies, and they're all leftists. Who's making the music? They're all leftists. They control the industry. It's not that right-wing people are like, hey, what's the piano? It's not that they don't know what they're doing. It's that when they create stuff, it doesn't get publicized by the machine, and the left-wing stuff does. It's not like that they aren't bothering to use art. Dale Grizzle says, fix your audio, you sound like Psychotron. That's not helpful. I don't know what that means. Is it low quality? I don't know what Psychotron is. Bear says, I have a lot of girlfriends and all of them tell me I'm a great guy and are confused why I can't get a date. Any advice? Probably nice guy syndrome. Yeah, this is such a general question there that my whole channel is based on that I'm just going to tell you to just go watch my stuff. Just go watch my videos. Girls will tell you that you're so nice that you should have a girlfriend. And then you say, well, what about you? And they go, not me. Not me, though. Not me. Because women are they don't know what they want. They're very detached from their own minds. So they'll see a nice guy and they'll go, every girl but me would want a nice guy. I don't want a nice guy, though. I want like a bad boy who is exciting. But every other girl in the world would want a nice guy. So they never tell you, you need to be taller or more muscular or put on a shirt that doesn't make you look like a 5-year-old. They don't tell you that. You just need more bad boy points. Just go look at zones and look at the bad boy section and develop that. Don't listen to women about what they like. They don't know what it is. The royal we. Your audio is robot. Robot, sleep with me but upset. IDGT. That's very unhelpful. Is my audio bad? I'm getting several people saying to please fix the audio. I guess you should stop sending me questions, and I will turn this off and come back on, I guess. Maybe I'll do a second one? I don't know. Maybe I'll just be done. Money advice, Garrett Vranikar. Get into oil. After I get my CDL and some experiences, I'm going to try to be a hazmat trucker for gas and oil. Jobs around Allentown can pay up to $300K annually. Also research your local job market for good jobs. Okay. I guess the oil industry is good. Virtual Right says, please fix the audio. Lucas Lay says, I scored a 78778 on the levels test. If this is correct and considered above average, why do I feel like an average man my whole life? Well, it's because the levels are not a full measure of who you are as a person. That's just how you think. It's just the development of your thinking. It doesn't mean that you have any skill or any ability to do anything. You can be a very high-level thinker and you can't open a can of soup. You have to apply those things. Like once you have a high level of thinking, you gotta go get skills and learn how to apply your thinking to skills in the real world that matter to people. And then once you can do things that matter to people, then you will be above average. The levels are not a summary value of you as a person. It's only a measure of the complexity of your thinking and nothing else. Thinking in a complex way does not make you more attractive or more useful or anything like that. Okay, no one said any more paid things. I'm going to check with the live chat. Is my audio terrible? Is my audio bad? Very bad. Okay. All right. I am going to leave then. Sorry about the audio. Thanks for being here. Have a good night. Oh, wait a minute.